When you connect the car to the cloud with 5G, a couple of things happen. First of all, the car becomes a distribution of media.
I'm even more thrilled to introduce and to have a conversation with, really, I think probably could be described as, certainly one of the most relevant and consequential sort of business leaders of our time. I know he's certainly, the company he runs underpins so many of the remarkable changes and revolutions that are happening throughout every sector of business and society. It's my friend here, Cristiano Amon, who is originally from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and has spent most of his career at Qualcomm. I think he first started off I think you were hired from Qualcomm when you were in Japan, is that right?
I started my career in NEC, then I moved from Brazil to Japan. I was in Japan for about a year, and then after that I joined Qualcomm. Joined Qualcomm back in 1995.
Wow, so a Brazilian in Japan, hired by Qualcomm. So international background.
I would think so, yes.
But, I think, and also it's interesting, we talk about this too, Cristiano has an interesting background between being an engineer, but also having a product background. He's also done incredible things like overseeing the rollout of the 5G technology for Qualcomm across the world. So this is someone who has been leading some incredible architecture of the new global computing system that's changing and supporting our lives. And most importantly, he was named CEO 8 months ago, but has just become CEO in July of 2021. So congratulations on your new position.
Thank you so much.
The first question I have to ask you is, how the last 2 months been?
It's been good. I'm very happy, living the dream. Look, there's a lot of opportunity for the company. It's such a privilege for me to be CEO at a time that our technology is becoming relevant for so many industries. And what we saw through the pandemic, there's an incredible acceleration of digital transformation across the board. There's no industry immune to it, especially the automotive industry, and it's an accelerated pace of transformation. And it's an incredible opportunity for Qualcomm. It's at a time that Qualcomm is expanding. We have been a company always known and recognized for what we do in mobile. I think we always own the mobile space, but now we have this opportunity to own this connected, intelligent edge, and I'm very happy and privileged to be CEO at this time.
That's great. Well, I know that you had a great predecessor in Steve Mollenkopf, who I've met a few times, and but I know the succession was very well regarded in the business media, as far as I recall.
Yeah, thank you. Steve and I have been working together for 15 years, and I think we got a lot of positive feedback, so I guess we did something right.
That's great.
On this succession.
And what about becoming a new CEO in the middle of a pandemic? What complications has that, or opportunities or challenges is that offered?
Look, I like to think there's always more opportunities than challenges. I think everything is an opportunity. It's interesting we had this question, Justin. Steve was CEO at the time. We have to send everybody home, and we have to do this, and very fast. We always a company that always work to look at the health and safety of our employees and keep supporting our customers. I'm the one that have to figure out how we get back to whatever the future is. But the good thing, what we saw through this pandemic, is if you can try to have a positive outlook on things from a technology standpoint, is it proved that connectivity is essential. Connectivity was a technology that kept everybody working, kept families together, the world was working, and I think that create not only a different way of thinking about the future holds, but incredible opportunity for technology company like Qualcomm. So, and it's fascinating. We, for years in the mobile industry, were chasing when do we get to video telephony? I remember the 3G flip phones. People said the killer application is video telephony. It took a pandemic to get video telephony as the killer application. But with that, everything's changing. Computer became communication devices. People work from anywhere. So I guess it's to some extent an interesting opportunity to think about when we get out of the pandemic, what the workplace look like, and I'm working on that right now.
Is Qualcomm following the lead of a lot of other technology companies in fully embracing the work from home culture and full flexibility?
So we have communicated that, you know, as we get back to normal, there will be flexibility, and you know, we're trying to preserve the best of both worlds, right? How do we build on the flexibility and the new ways of work we learned with the pandemic, but also we keep people interaction, which has been key to the company culture. It's an incredible culture of innovation and collaboration, and engineers need to whiteboard together.
Yes, it's hard to do that online. Well, before we dive in, because we're going to talk mostly about obviously your efforts in the automotive sector, but I thought it would be helpful for the audience here and the audience particularly streaming online, for you just to sort of set the stage a bit with Qualcomm's business today around the world.
Yes, you know, the company, it's definitely benefiting from the 5G transition. We work very hard. You know, part of my mission, you know, when I became president of the company, was to accelerate 5G by 1 year and build the foundation to diversify the company. So on the 5G transition, you know, it's incredible how that's going. It's tracking about 2 years faster. When you look at the 3G to 4G migration, the 4G to 5G is tracking 2 years faster. We expect we're going to close this calendar year with you know, in excess of 500 million users with 5G phones. Market likes China, and the last quarter, 79% of all activations were 5G. So that's going tremendously well. And every time you have a new G, it's a great you know, event for a company, both in revenue and earnings as it go to that migration.
It's a business model accelerant?
It's a business model acceleration. But what I want to tell you, and that goes back to the conversation we just had about many other industries. At the beginning of this 5G transition, and 5G is growing year over year tremendously for us, the non-handset business is going at 1.6 times the growth of 5G. We just reported you know, on track to get to $10 billion of non-handset business, and that includes automotive, includes this broad IoT category, and I think that's it's a clear example of how Qualcomm technology is becoming relevant to many other industries, and we're just building on that trend.
And is this just a question of the maturity of the smartphone business? And the kind of the new entrance into these new markets, or is it also a factor of the technology now being applied because of Qualcomm's capabilities to all these areas where no technology didn't exist before?
You know, I think it's the latter, but you know, the precise answer is a combination of both. What happened is the scale of mobile technology is incredible. The smartphone is today mankind's largest development platform, and I would argue that our society run on our inseparable device, which is a smartphone. But the potential to bring that technology to any other industries and be part of the digital transformation of other industry, it's some of the things we're doing. So I think the combination of both things, you know, retail has been transformed, healthcare has been transformed, manufacturing has been transformed, and as you add connectivity to the cloud, and you add computational capability to all of those devices, making them smart, that's what's creating this business. So here's how I'll answer your question. If you look of what's happening with the cloud companies, you look at the valuation of some of the cloud companies today, right? And why is that? Because there's this view that we're moving to a cloud-based economy, and everything will be connected to the cloud, and you make a projection of an exponential growth on the cloud. We're the company working on the other side. We're connecting all those little widgets so that they can send data to the cloud, and that's what's driving the growth for Qualcomm.
That's amazing. And so, did a number of you within Qualcomm, with a strong position in the smartphone chip business, did you sort of look at all the sort of landscape of different industries and Internet of Things opportunities across all of them, and sort of begin prioritize them? What was the process that you went through, and how many industries are you really leaning into now, obviously beyond automotive? I know automotive appears to be sort of near the top of the list of a new industry that you're looking to really to penetrate?
Yes, automotive is definitely top of the list. But you know, the change, and I think that's what's good about being in the tech industry. You have to always reinvent yourself. I think Qualcomm has been a great example of that. But just to give you a perspective, how to answer that question. In the mobile space, the industry is highly concentrated. So we could count our customers, and you know, as a B2B company, in maybe one hand. Used to be two hands, then we can count our customers in one hand. And all of a sudden, if you look at what happened just within the next few years, now we have 13,000 customers. So we went from, you know, a handful of customers to 13,000 customers, and with that we have to transform. And when you ask about priority, you know, there are many industries that are changing, but there's some they're changing faster than others, and I think the automotive is definitely a key priority for us.
Yeah. Well, that's where, so let's pivot into the automotive since we're here in Munich at the IAA Mobility show. And I think what would be very interesting to hear, particularly for people who come from the automotive industry, is to hear from someone who's a pure technologist, an engineer, comes from a different industry. When you look at the automotive industry and the shifts that are taking place, what do you see from your perspective as the opportunities going forward and in the shifting landscape? How do you see the automotive industry today?
So I really like the way you asked the question. How do I see from our perspective? Yeah. So I'll give it a shot. And that's one of the reasons we're so excited about it. The first thing that has happened with the car. The auto industry spent the past 2 decades connecting the car within itself. But what we're doing is we're coming in from approach that we connect the car to the cloud. And we connect the car, and that's the first part of the answer. We connect the car to the cloud with 5G. And what will that do? When you connect the car to the cloud with 5G, a couple of things happen. First of all, the car becomes a distribution of media. You know, it's what happened when, you know, when we started to bring connectivity to the cars, we stopped bringing CDs to the car, right? And you can listen to music, the streaming. That's going to happen with television. That's going to happen with gaming. This has happened at the same time that Microsoft's launching xCloud, and Netflix talking about having streaming of gaming. So the car becoming gaming console of the screen of the car, become a distribution of TV, become a distribution of media content. On the other side, now you have information about the driver that you can send back to the cloud. You can personalize the car experience to you. You can learn from behaviors from the car. You can learn from your behavior. You can learn from how the car is inserted in your environment. On top of that, as the car is connected to the cloud, the car maker is always connected with his product. So you can be part of the experience. You now have got to know your customer. You couldn't know the customer before. Customer may own a car for 5-7 years. You're always there with him. You can sell new services. You can upgrade the car, and etc. That's the first part. Second part where we come in, and that's why we build this digital cockpit solution besides, you know, connecting the car to the cloud. That's the second thing we're doing. Is it comes for this very simple view. People go to their car, they get behind the wheels, they look at their phone when they're driving. They're not supposed to do that. Why do they do that?
Can you stop them from doing that with your technology?
Yes, and the reason they do that is because the information they have on those devices sometimes is more relevant and important to them with the information they get out of the car. Well, the solution is very simple. Completely redesign the in-car experience with the best of both worlds, with the best that you can do from the driving experience, from the able to control the car, from the able to car to advise you, but also the ability to get information that is relevant to you. So that's why I completely redesigned the car experience. It's about really a digital cockpit experience, which is going to probably be how we're going to experience the, you know, our cars going forward. And then you go all the way to the ADAS and assisted driving. But what I find most interesting about what Qualcomm can do, as a technology company that I was thinking about system and solving problems, we can interconnect all of this together, right? The car connected connectivity and being inserted in the network, the in-car experience, and autonomy. I'll give you a practical example. Today, when you think about it, you're driving your car, you have a navigation system. You think about the navigation system, you have a map, the roads, and you have your car moving in the road. Now think about that. You're still behind the wheel. In that map, I can populate with technology such as 5G, the connectivity of between car to every other car, car to the traffic lights, car to a bicycle, provided you're riding your bike and keeping your phone with you, and the car to a pedestrian because I'm connecting to your phone. I populate that map, and I'll have now the intelligence of what's happening in the map. So you're driving, you get to an intersection, the traffic light will tell you, adjust your speed so you get a green, or this many seconds to green. You have a car approaching the intersection, and you're tracking that movement, he's not slowing down. The dashboard look at you with the camera facing you, you're not looking at the dashboard, it calls your attention. There's something you need to pay attention to. And the opportunities are limitless. So I think that's what we see the future of automotive. The car will become a service hub, completely change the experience between the OEMs and the owners of the car. They finally get to know their customers intimately. And there's a whole opportunity to create a more safe and efficient environment. Yeah,
and sustainable too.
Absolutely.
But in terms of it, what are the implications? I mean, that's an incredibly bold vision, and you have a lot of the technology and the proof points to put. And I think at times, maybe you're not quoted, but it's been referred to as sort of allowing other automotive makers to become Teslas with your technology. What are the business model implications? I mean, are you going to stick with the Qualcomm model of selling chips and licensing IP? Or are you looking at sort of more innovative, new, disruptive business models in partnership with automotive companies, et cetera?
There's a lot of opportunities, but the simple answer is the first thing that we do, and we'll continue to do, we provide a horizontal platform. We're not a vertical company. We provide a horizontal platform that is open and allow our customers to innovate. I think the Qualcomm approach to the market as a creator of ecosystems explained why in a short period of time we're working with 23 of the global 26 brands of cars. So it seems like we're doing something right. But also create an opportunity for you to evolve the business model with more software and more services. Part of that we added to what we call the digital chassis that we offer across all those solutions, a car-to-cloud service platform. And
the chassis, which is a term you use a lot, is that encompasses the entire Qualcomm capability?
That is correct. From the connectivity element to the car to the cloud, from the digital cockpit experience, all the way to edge computing capabilities and ADAS.
Interesting.
And on top of that, you can build a car-to-cloud platform. So that's a new development for Qualcomm, and I would say it's probably an evolution of the business model.
And is it it's sort of an operating system of sorts?
No, it's ability to create, an engagement with the OEMs and developers that they can really program directly to the chip. And we provide some software capabilities and some applications that allow you to build those services on top.
And what kind of revenue opportunity? Do you see a lot of incremental revenue opportunities for the OEMs themselves?
Absolutely. I'll give you a practical example. One of the first features we're going to be launching commercially from our car-to-cloud platform is what we call, a soft SKU. SKU, like a different variant. So allow, for example, an automaker to get to an entry-level car and build the entry-level car with a premium infotainment solution. And when they sell the car, you get the basic capabilities. But then the automaker can sell to the consumer directly upgrades, and over the air, we can upgrade the car. Also, you have the ability to, over the air, to continue to add functionalities to the car. What is fascinating, Justin, is you're going to buy your car, and maybe average car ownership, you're going to keep with that car for 5 to 7 years. I bet you that during that time, you're going to change your cell phones at least 2 times. Yeah. So why not upgrade capabilities on the car? And especially at a time that the OEMs are looking for reusability, modularity, and upgradability, I think that's a solution that we offer, and we participate in the value creation together with the OEMs.
Are you effectively kind of co-creating these models with the OEMs?
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, customizing the relationships one-to-one, or creating sort of an industry standard, or?
Absolutely, I think we're co-creating with them, and you touch on a very important point. One thing that is different right now, and I will say that the semiconductor supply chain crisis kind of brought a new sense of awareness, but the relationship within the car industry is changing. Historically, the OEMs will have a relationship with their suppliers, and we have incredible partnerships with the tier ones and we'll continue to have those. But we also saw that the tier ones, the tier twos, but I also saw that the OEMs are now interested to also get to understand the semiconductors and the technology companies. And I think that's an opportunity to work early in the process, create some of the technology possibilities, and that feed that within the existing auto supply chain, which is very mature and very efficient. And I think that's what's new. What is new is Qualcomm is a new relationship that was not traditionally a relationship to the car companies, and we're very excited about that.
And that's what's interesting to me, is this notion that you are a new entrant into the market. You have a different perspective completely. If you look at the automotive industry and you ask yourself, what are the mistakes or the missteps that should be avoided in order to actually, in order to realize this much more prosperous vision of this next generation industry that you describe?
It's a good question. I will say I'm being very optimistic about the realization of the auto industry right now. I think all the CEOs that I have met have this clear understanding that they are now in the technology business, yeah. And they have to think like that. I think some of the mistakes or the missteps that could be avoided. The automakers have incredible core competences in their field, and they have an opportunity to innovate within, the semi-aspects, the specific aspects of the auto industry. How you drive your car, how the experience about ownership, what do you experience in the car? I think automakers don't have to recreate everything that exists on the consumer space, but how do they utilize that and on top innovate and retain the value of what they know very well. And what I like about the automotive industry, the automotive companies are big enough and they understand enough of their space that I think they can retain the value. I don't expect to happen with the automotive, for example, what happened in other consumer industries, that the entire value go to the ecosystem or some of the cloud companies and application providers. I think the automotive industry has an incredible opportunity to retain this value.
So let's move just quickly, as we close out here, to obviously the critical question we've touched on, which is sustainability, ESG issues, and from your perspective, from all the Qualcomm's different inventions, different innovations, new technologies, which ones are you most excited about for the automotive industry in terms of achieving different ESG objectives?
Look, there's two. And the first one, and of course what you're going to hear from Qualcomm, and it's not unique to the automotive industry, is in general, but it's obviously 5G. There's studies showing that by 2025, the projection is 5G will contribute indirectly through the efficiency gains and productivity gains and digital transformation. Indirectly will contribute to 6% of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. That's not a small number. And especially in the automotive, on top of 5G, we've been very bullish about this technology that I mentioned, which is CV2X. It's connectivity between the car to another car, car to pedestrian, car to infrastructure. This will create an efficient transportation system. Industry projections, when you have a mature CV2X technology, you can reduce emissions by 20% by just having a much more efficient transportation system. So A lot of exciting opportunities ahead. You know, we're a company that have been doing very tiny chips, and we never get credit for what the industry has been done. But if you just think of what the mobile industry accomplished today, with your smartphone, you don't have to carry a portable video player, you don't have to carry a camera, you don't have to carry a music player, you don't have to, eventually you're not going to be able to carry a computer as you do more and more productivity. So the smartphone has integrated so many devices, been an incredible contributor, you know, for efficiency, in addition to reducing people having to be, you know, physical in all spaces. And I think we have the ability to bring technology to other industries as well, and very excited about what 5G will do.
Yeah. And as the world, you know, continues to you know, despite this sort of recent blip in the pandemic, continues to organize itself around cities, how is Qualcomm doing a lot of work on the future of cities and mobility?
Yes, you asked me the question earlier about how do we prioritize. It's been difficult to prioritize given so many things that are happening, but smart city is one of the different verticals growing in our IoT. There's a clear understanding of the opportunity to bring technology to cities. One example of that is the smart traffic lights. We just talked about that before, but there is a lot of development in the space, and everyone is trying to, you know, find how we can live more efficient together.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I think this is a question I was actually even personally just very interested in, because all of us in every industry, even in the media business, and especially the media business too, are seeking out innovation. And, you know, everyone knows that innovation comes from innovative cultures, or the combination of talent, unique talent and cultures that result in innovation. I just thought it'd be interesting, as the automotive industry tries to innovate, as other industries. Your company is one of the purest examples of a kind of a really bleeding edge innovation company. What's your secret sauce, that you can publicly talk about?
It's you know, I love to get this question, and you know, Qualcomm is an incredible story of innovation and constantly, you know, reinventing itself. So, I think first thing that we do is we work super hard to never be complacent. We're paranoid about competition. We're paranoid about understanding disruption. We always execute well in disruption. So we take very seriously that if we're going to get disrupted, we need to be the first one doing it, even if it changes ourselves. Do
you disrupt yourselves?
Well,
like we launch products that hurt your existing businesses.
You know, if I give an example in the Qualcomm history, just because I've been to Qualcomm for 26 years, when we started the company, you know, everybody knows Qualcomm is a CDMA company, but we knew as we go to 4G, we needed to embrace OFDMA. So we want to do that first than everybody else. And I feel that at the end of the day, this is what drives, you know, companies to constantly reinvent themselves. And when you're a technology company, you can't afford not to be doing this, because the technology we do today could be obsolete in 2 years. So we have to be, as soon as we celebrate success about a new product and technology we launch, we're back at busy and worry about what we're going to do next. Yeah. And I think that keeps the company going.
Well, great. Well, listen, we're out of time, but I wanted to, on behalf of IAA Mobility and also our involvement at Bloomberg Media, thank Cristiano so much for taking the time today. Please give him a round of applause for his very interesting comments. If there are some questions from the audience, I think we have a minute or two.
Of course we can.
Yeah?
Yeah, we've got a boom mic. Just the only thing is don't touch the mic. You know, we've got this COVID thing going on. So don't grab the mic. But does someone have a question they'd like to ask? Special opportunity right here. Can someone get a mic to this gentleman over here, front row? That's why I got you guys to come to the front, so they don't have to run all the way to the back. See, I thought ahead. All right. Just don't touch the mic. Don't touch the mic.
Sorry.
I know you want to. Don't touch it.
I do want to.
Go ahead.
What are the Cristiano? In this time of transformation and everything speeding up, even for automotive OEMs, what are your key advices that we can learn from other industries like telco or, more mature IoT providers?
Good question.
Yeah, boa tarde to you as well. Thank you. Look, I think the key advice, and is not only unique to this industry, is unique to every other industry, is spend time to understand your customers, and especially what are the customers of tomorrow looking for. And the second thing, and I don't know if it's good advice, but that's the advice I always have for myself, especially in the period of transformation. When you have to do something new and you have to change from what you're doing into the next thing, have no plan B, if only plan A. The moment you have a plan B or a backup plan, that becomes the plan. Have no backup plan, just go. And I think that this is important in this industry because technology is changing the automotive industry, and that's an incredible opportunity.